Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. I'm getting over a summer cold, which you might hear in my voice. You know, the best kind when it's hot and you're fevery. So awesome. Anyway, but please excuse my voice as I work through it. I had a little laryngitis a couple days ago, and it seems like it's coming back pretty well, but still a little scratchy. Anyway, this will be your weekly reading for the week of August 16th through the 22nd. And during that time, we first have a waxing crescent moon. So time of heightened senses, a good time to, we're buckling down and working on those things that we started during the new moon and just getting those things going and living up to our expectations and our intentions right now. Then we have the first quarter, and that's kind of our first interrupter of the month where you might feel a little impulsive, impatient, and your mind might be a little bit active and it's just hard to get things accomplished. So keep that in mind. That comes in on the 20th, and that can be for a couple of hours or even for the whole day. But make sure that you realize that that's coming, and it gives you an opportunity to learn how to be in control and to dominate those impulses that you might have. So plan ahead and plan accordingly. So please keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Aries. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't here on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is that the energy is gaining momentum. All right, let's see what the Aries Collective has going on for the week. As I'm shuffling the tarot today, I do a fun little weekly reminder, but this week I do need your help on something. And that is that I'm thinking about doing the occasional live stream. And this might be in a couple of months, maybe when summer's over and the weather's not as nice out and it's darker earlier. But I might come in and do some live streams with you guys. But I wanted to know if, what would work better for you, a weeknight, a weekend. So let me know if there's a day of the week that you think you're, maybe more prone to be around and want to engage in a live stream. And also, what is your time zone so that I know what time might be good for you. So, I'm kind of thinking weekends, but it could be a weekday as well. But let me know in the comments, please. I do appreciate your help on this for me. So, all right, let's get into this reading. Aries, August 16th through the 22nd. The energy is gaining momentum. Your present energy right now is the Ace of Pentacles. So you've got some sort of new financial opportunity coming in for you here. This could be new money that's coming in. This could be that you've won something, maybe a prize of some sort or a lottery of some sort. You might be getting a raise at work, but it's some new finance. It might just be an investment opportunity that opens up, and you have, maybe you read an article and you realize, oh, I should be investing in this. But look around this week for some sort of new financial thing to be coming in for you, but you'll want to take advantage of whatever that might be. Your current situation right now is the Page of Pentacles, so it might be something new to you. With this page, our pages are juveniles of the deck, and doesn't mean that you're a juvenile. It means that the thing that you're dealing with is new to you. It's novel. It's something you've never engaged in before. So it might be, again, some sort of new investment. It could be a new side gig, but it's something new. It's something you've not engaged in before. So lots to learn there, right? At the root of this situation is the Eight of Swords. So you might have been feeling stuck. And this is the card of we all get stuck at times, but we can all think our way out of it. And so this might be, you might be feeling a little bit stuck financially, but you've had some sort of idea on how you can think your way out of this, financial. Maybe you just need to make more money. Maybe your bills are coming in a little higher than the income, and you're thinking, I've got to get something going so that I can make a little bit more money and something a little steadier to work myself out of this situation. So that seems to be at the root of why you are looking around for this Ace and Page of Pentacles. In your recent past is the Page of Swords. So, in your recent past, you've maybe found a new way of thinking or a new way of communicating. And it could be, again, because you were working on getting out of feeling stuck. And, sometimes when we're down a little bit, you kind of kick yourself and, it's just kind of a negative time when it's just frustrating, that frustration to feel like, oh, I'm never going to make enough money to do this thing and da da da, or get by. And now it feels like maybe you changed your way of thinking a little bit, it might have gone from something a little more negative to maybe trying to think on the positive end. It's not kicking yourself, it's just thinking, how do I tackle this problem? How do I take this on and decide again to bring in more money, to do whatever it is? And this is a new way of thinking, a new way of communicating. So if you've got a new way of thinking, hopefully it's the more positive end of thinking that way instead of this darker, just feeling stuck. That's no fun to feel. But if you see it in a positive way and see things as an opportunity, of course, that comes in and it builds that positive momentum so that you can be a success at that. All right, what is on your mind this week is the Empress. So yeah, you're wanting to do something here long term. The Empress is about long term creativity, but making the commitment to really move forward with it. So let's say that you've decided to, again, maybe take on a side gig. There's something that you're talented at that maybe the rest of the world isn't, and you can use that as a way to make some money on the side, and you decide to do that. The decision that you make is going to be it's going to be longer term. It's not going to be like, well, I'm going to do it for this weekend and this month. The Empress, when she makes decisions, she's our mother of the deck. So when she makes decisions, she's committed to being creative, like the life of a child. I'm going to nurture this pregnancy and I'm going to bring this child into the world and nurture this child all through up until their adulthood. And honestly, let's be all real about it, even afterwards. So, it's long term, entering into those creative projects that are long term. So, looks like you're ready to get this started and build upon it. It could be something that becomes a business and maybe takes over your life at some point, and it is something because you enjoy doing it. It becomes something that's more and more lucrative, and there you go. That's the kind of commitment that you looks like you're thinking about right now. Anyway, what is just ahead of you this week is a little bit of rest and meditation with this Four of Swords, and it might just be thinking this project through. Stop for a minute. It's always good to make sure you're thinking things through before we take the next step. With this kind of card, this is like the precursor maybe even to the Hermit that would do a deeper thought process. But this is you taking that time to be calm, take a big breath, make sure that you're getting enough rest, but you're also sitting in thought with these new things that you're working with right here and just deciding, just making decisions about how you want to move forward. What is in your advice position here? Number 7 is the card that comes up, which do we have another? No, that was an 8 down there. Okay, so 7 of Cups here, which is about all the decisions that you have to make, which is probably why you're taking some time to rest and meditate. And whatever the side thing might be, it might be that you're making decisions about scheduling and when you can do a certain thing or how to plan a certain thing. You might be working with the marketing of it and all the different aspects, but you're making a lot of choices. Excuse me there. Make sure that you're just making the right choices and be calm in your choice. Like this rest and meditation card is about really thinking things through, like I said, for your next step. So looks like you have a lot of decisions to make. And this is also when putting pen to paper, I always say, is the best idea. If you've got all these different categories that you have to think about, make a page for each and start jotting those ideas down. Because sometimes you have a really good idea and it's, for me anyway, it'll be fleeting. I have this great idea and I didn't write it down and all of a sudden it just doesn't materialize. Sometimes just writing things down will make a thing materialize. All right, what is beyond your control this week is the Emperor, another 4. So whatever you're entering into, I get the feeling is something that can be stable for you. And here comes the Emperor, who is our builder. The Emperor is about leadership, and it's about getting things done. It's about doing things in a systematic way, being the authority on something, but this is our builder. But it's also the very stable builder. It's not someone who's making wacky decisions. You're making decisions based on stability and what you kind of know will work. Also look up angel number 44 when it comes to what you're going through right now that may have some bearing on your current situation, but it's beyond your control to be the builder. And I love that. I love the Emperor, especially paired with the Empress, because the Empress is kind of the idea and the putting the long-term commitment into it, where the builder's like, all right, let's buckle down and get it done. So it looks like you're really ready to do that right now. What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid Well, your secret desire is the Ten of Pentacles, which is about long term wealth and security for not only you, but your family and your people around you. And that's what you're wanting to build. I mean, it could be again that you're feeling stuck, like, how am I ever going to get ahead, in this crazy world? But there's always a way, isn't there? There's always, you can't give up hope, and you do have to just keep trying until you find that thing that works for you and brings you into this really long term thinking so that you can have that security not only for yourself but for generations after you. So whatever this is, I mean, I think that is that's really great that that is your secret desire. I doubt if you're trying to avoid that. If you are, question that. I would question that as well. But if that is your secret desire and that's your motivator for this, that is a great motivator. I think we all kind of hopefully have that in our, what can I do that's long term, that will be successful long term here. So hopefully again that is a motivator for you. In your outcome, Aries, is the Hermit. Wow, it was funny. I was thinking this, I said that this four is the precursor to the Hermit card, because this is restful meditation. But the Hermit is also really lighting, like, what is the next step when it comes to this decision making, right? The Hermit is really thinking even deeper than this guy. So if you need to take a day or two to really just get to yourself, get inside your own head, again, put pen to paper, give yourself that time to have all the ideas come through. You might not put them all to work this week, right? But it might be things that, we are planning out into the future. Like, if I can accomplish this, then maybe this goal comes in. And if that goal comes in, maybe I can set this other goal, so that you can see kind of a path forward. And even though we make plans like that, they don't always come to fruition, but it is really good to have a plan in place, even if you have to come back later to restructure that plan and make tweaks where it needs to be done. But, this Hermit tells me that you're going to spend some time just in deep thought this week, just quietly by yourself, and that's fine. I mean, I feel like if it takes that to get this thing accomplished, and look, your overall was that the energy is gaining momentum. So if this is just thought energy at this time, it might actually start to become tangible, something that you're actually putting your hands to and working on in the near future here. All right, what is hidden from you this week is the Magician. Okay, that's very interesting that this is hidden. And this might be where your Hermit card comes in. The Magician asks, what do you want? What is it that you want to manifest? And maybe you're just not even asking yourself that big question yet, but it is something that you do need to ask, and that's why it's hidden from you. So, again, setting those long term goals, making sure that you have those quiet moments to do that planning, to really look into the future a little bit and see what it can be, even though it's not there yet. But you do kind of have to set those goals so that you know what you're trying to manifest. And, manifesting isn't like, oh, I'm going to think of this idea and then just wait for it to come to me. No, you have to dig in and do the work. Now, does it come quicker if you've got that mental focus? Maybe there's a momentum that you're working towards, and the Magician can help you with that. So make sure you're asking and using the elements. The Magician is asking you, which elements will you use to, and I'm using the example of maybe this being a small business. So maybe it is your passion that's what's going to fuel the small business, and take that and run with it for a little while. It could just be passion that might change. The Magician may come back and say, okay, you've put some passion into it. Now, what about, are you communicating it well? And you'll pick up that sword energy and communicate better. So all of the different elements that the universe takes for us to accomplish things, you need to harness those and use them in the correct way for whatever it is that you're working on. So I love this reading, Aries. I really do. With the Empress and the Emperor, the Hermit, the deep thought, making these choices, and especially, that you do have a long-term goal in mind. I think that's really awesome. So if you are comfortable sharing, drop me a comment. Is there something new coming in for you? Are you starting a new business? Let me grab a drink here. What is this new financial opportunity for you? Is it a business? And even if one word, if you want to let me know, business, investment, side hustle, something like that, it would just be, I'd love to hear those kinds of things, like if when the reading resonates with you. All right, let's get you a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Aries is to count your blessings. That's always great advice. So look around right now. What is in your life that's actually working right now and is great, that's allowing you to be able to take this and take this thing and move with it and move to the next level. I mean, there must be already some stability, something you're doing right already in order to let this come in. So make sure that you are taking the time to understand and count those blessings around you. It's gratitude is a gratitude brings these kinds of things to fruition as well. You know, when you're thankful and grateful for the things that you do have, more will become available to you. All right, let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care this week. Self-care for Aries this week as they're working through this new idea. I love that you get the card called abundance, especially since we're dealing with pentacles, money, material things in this reading. Being a thoughtful steward for the money you already have is the secret to creating more abundance. When you trust yourself to handle more, that's when more shows up. So trust yourself to handle more. I love that that's how this wraps up. The energy's gaining momentum. Trust yourself to handle more. Do all of the things that are in this card, you know, to make the right choices, you know, to really think about those choices deeply that you're making and get out there and build something new. So thank you, Aries, for being here. I do hope there's something in this reading that you can take away and use in a positive way in your life this week. If you're comfortable sharing, again, drop me a comment down below and let me know if anything here resonated, or if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you as well. Also, if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe is really kind of you. It helps my channel, and I appreciate that so much of you. So thanks a lot, Aries. Good luck with this, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.